Hi everybody, welcome to the Crafters Outpost. Today I'm going to teach you how to make these junk journal covers out of a brown paper bag and turn them into a soft leather book cover. And so these are some of the ones I've already made, not that one. Okay, so these are the ones that I've already made. They're all different sizes, so you can choose on the size that you want to make. Okay, and then here is some of the samples of the ones that I've made so far, and they're all different sizes, different colors, different textures, using Distress inks, hair conditioner to give the soft leather look to your covers. And so that's what we're going to be making today. So now all we're going to do is take the brown paper bag and we're just going to crinkle it up. Just want to keep smashing it and crinkling it up to get all your wrinkles in here. So then it will turn out like this. So you're just going to keep doing that till you get it the way you like it. As many wrinkles as you want. You just keep doing that till you get it to your liking. Okay, so here's some of the ones that I've made with different colored Distress inks. That gives you different, that one hasn't been done, whatever colors you are trying to go for, that you want your leather to look like. And these are just some of the samples that I've done already. But I really like this color. And so that's what I'm going to be shooting for, is this texture and color. And how I did that, these are the actual inks that I used to make that happen. Rusty Hinge, Gathered Twigs, Vintage Photo, Brushed Corduroy, and Aged Mahogany. Okay, so these are just some of the ones that I use to create that color that I like. And so all you're going to do is take each one, it doesn't matter what order they're in, and we're just going to ink the paper where it just picks up the ink on the crinkles that you've done. And we're just going to keep coloring till we get the color that we want. And you can do it light, you can do it heavy, however you want to do it. And just do it till you get what you like. Okay, just going to take each one and see how it picks up that ink. And highlights all the crinkles in it. That's really all you do. This is kind of more of an orangey color, but once I wet it, it will turn the color that I want, and I'll just keep doing that till I get the color that I want. Now what I do is I turn the paper around, make sure I get the other direction. And let's see. So after you get all your inks on, then we're just going to take some water and barely sprinkle it down, just a little bit. Don't need a lot. And you're going to go back and just keep squeezing it till you get all of it blended good together. And see how it changed it. Okay. So you can do it as heavy as you want or as light as you want, whatever look you're trying to get. I think I'm going to add a little bit more of this because I do like the more, not really a red tone, but this is the color that gives the book that leather look, I think, the vintage. Okay, add a little bit more water, not a whole lot, and just get back to wrinkling it up again. See what we got. Okay, so that's the look that I'm looking for right there. Okay, and then the next step, so now after we get it the color we want, we're going to soften up the paper by using any conditioner. It doesn't matter what kind or what name product, if I can get it out. And then we're just going to put that in our hands and rub it together, and then just put it right over your paper. It softens the grocery bag, and this is what makes it feel like leather. And then we're just going to squeeze it together again, get that all saturated in there real good, make it all soft. And then what we're going to do is just let that air dry. Now I did try to put this outside in the sun. I didn't like the way the other one turned out when I did that, so I'm just going to let this air dry and then we'll come back. Cutting the spine out of this, the book cover itself, to stiffen it up a little bit. So I'm going to cut this down to size and what I need it to be, and that'll be the next step. Okay, so now the next step is working on the spine. So I'm going to do two different concepts here and see which one I like better. Now this is just where you can put your paper down and then put your spine down and have a little bit of space in between so you can actually fold your book. And or you don't have to use a spine. You can just do the whole thing, you know, without a spine. So there's different ways you can do it, guys. Now, in my other video that I taught you how to make this out of envelopes, this is the way I did this spine on this book, my envelope book. You can look that video up in the description. So this one is the one I used in this envelope book. So I was thinking about trying this concept actually on this book here. And so what I did is the same spine that I did in the other video. I created, this was 2 1/4, this right here, and then I scored it at 1 and then 1 1/4. And I kind of just folded it up to get my spine here. And then what I'm going to do is glue this down. Okay, both sides down. Like this, so I can have more, so it can end up being more sturdy, because your spine gets a lot of wear and tear, and it already has the creases. So I'm just going to experiment with this and try it. I'm going to glue this down, and then we'll come back and put the actual, this on the cover. But if you want to learn how to do different spines, you can go to the other video to have this, to do this one. Or you can just create one like this, or you just don't do any spines and you just put your paper down straight across and then fold it in half and not have, you know, that this kind of spine, if that makes sense. All right, so I'll be back in a minute after I glue this down. It's going to be glued to both pieces of covers here, just like that. Just put some glue on, and then we'll be back. Down, and we're just going to do the other one. Just make sure you get all your glue around all your edges. And this is Art Glitter Glue. That's my favorite glue to use. Okay. And then we're just going to place that down here. Make sure you get it even and up against your crease of the spine that you created. Right like that. Want to make sure your glue is good and everything is staying down. So, and then so now we have this. Now you can make the spine bigger if you're going to do more than one signature. So it's really your preference on what you want to do here. But that gives it a little bit more security. Okay. Make sure it's glued down really well. Okay, so now that I have this put together, I had taken my paper and I had cut it down just about an inch all the way around, so when I glue it, it's not, I didn't want it like all the way through here, so I had to cut the paper down to fit. And so now what I want to do is just glue this. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to use some stick glue for the front part. Because we're going to be gluing this down and then sewing. So I don't, it's not that it has to be just enough to get it to stick. Just don't want to put glue down your spine right here, just off to the side. So you get your edges. And you can use any glue you like. Turn that over. Press it down. I'm going to turn it over and press it on this side a little bit. Just be careful not to rip your paper. Just kind of press it. Flip it back over. And then we are just going to glue the corner part right now. The edges. Make sure you get it taut up against your cover there. Do this on all four corners. Do the other two sides. I don't want it to be real bulky, so that's why I cut the paper down just enough to cover it. And I am using Fabric Fix for this. Cover is on, the spine is done. And there's your spine right here. And then here's your cover. Okay, so now with the 11 by or 14 by 8.5 papers, those should fit in there perfectly. And if they're just a little bit over, I can trim that. Not a big deal. So that fits fine. Now the next thing we're going to work on is covering this inside with some decorative paper or some book pages. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so we'll go on to the next step of decorating the inside. Okay, so now the next step is, and usually I do this before I put the cover on, but it doesn't really matter. I did forget. But anyway, so I'm going to take some Mod Podge and add some to my water. I do have some water in there. You just want to thin it out a little bit. Just going to mix it up. And we're just going to Mod Podge the front cover. Now this is a gloss, and I do like the gloss look. So we're just going to put a thin layer on the top. And you just lightly brush it on. I usually don't make it this runny, but I kind of ran out, so just a thin layer. It's just to seal the cover and to give it the glossy leather look or suede look. And then it just kind of seals it. That's really all you do with that, and then just set it aside to dry. I'm not going to do the inside because it's not going to really matter once I put paper in here. We're just going to set that aside to dry. I'll show you the ones that I've already done prior to. So here's some more I've done, and it just gives it like a leather suede texture feel to it, and it also gives it a gloss. So here's a couple I've already done, and again, you can make them whatever size you want. Okay, then we're just going to let this dry, and then we'll be back for the next step. Okay, so now what we're going to do is make our spine a little more sturdy. So I'm adding this decorative duct tape, and I'm just going to make it even with the top of and the bottom of my spine, and then I'll just secure it down, and then after that we'll go on to the next step. So I'm just finishing this up by cutting it and pressing the spine down and creasing my sides. Okay, so now we're just going to work on what papers I want to glue to my inside cover. Now I had taken this heavy duty cardstock and did some coffee tea dyeing on it, and this is what I'm going to choose to make inside my covers, just to give it a little bit more sturdiness for the book. And so I'm just kind of deciding on which one I want to use, and then we're just gonna cut it and fit it, and I'm gonna fast forward the video and you can just see what I do. Okay, so now that we have our pages cut and ready to go into the book, I wanted to actually ink the edges first before gluing down. So that's what I decided to do here. And then once I get it all inked on both pages, then we'll be gluing it down. Okay, so now I have my glue stick out and I'm just going to get around the edges really well and go all the way around the outside because I want to make my edges, make sure they're going to stay down. And then I'm going to do a little bit of glue stick in the middle of the page and just get it really saturated good. And then I'm going to take my Fabrifix and spread all over the edge and inside the page because I want to make for sure that this is going to stay down. So you want to use a little bit of a better glue that's going to adhere to the book so it doesn't come up later on you. And so I'm just going to spread it around, get my edges real good and all over the paper and get it on there really good. I use a lot of glue during this process. And then we're just going to flip it over and get it glued down. Okay guys, so here it is, all glued down, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. It's nice into the hands, it feels great, it's very sturdy, and I just love it. And so now I think this part of the video is going to be part 1, and I will do another part 2 when I decorate the inside. But so the ending of this book is going to be me inking the whole book, all the edges, the cover, and I will speed that up and show you the end results, and then hopefully I will see you in part 2. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching and God bless.